The opinions expressed in this program are not those of CISA 7 or Time Warner Cable.
What's your tomorrow?
Then I'll ask Katie to read the mission statement.
We ensure that all students are college, career, and community ready, inspired to succeed in our diverse community.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
Next, next is our open forum. This is a time for members of the community to speak before the board. I do have one person who's filled out a form, so I'll call forward Peter Blum. Or Bloom? Blum.
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you very much, especially and so quickly. Peter Blum from the Challenge Academy at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, and just making the rounds throughout the state, especially to larger school boards, but just to ensure that we know about the Challenge Academy. Our Challenge Academy School District is a statewide school district, so we serve the entire state of Wisconsin. Each of you should have an information packet coming along, but those of you that may have not have heard of the Challenge Academy, we are the state's only residential high school alternative program for children that have dropped out of school. So you have children that you're struggling with, expelled children that are not going to graduate on time or graduate at all. Those are the kids that we seek to have. We're a very niche program, so our charter is to only serve the kids that are dropping out of the school system within the state. And as you know, here in Green Bay, the problem is pretty significant. We've got about 80,000 habitual truants and dropouts in Wisconsin. So they're out there, and we hope to be one alternative within your bag of tools for the kids that you're struggling to serve. So you consider maybe going to a GD Option 2 program, which is very similar to what the Challenge Academy does, except we're residential. So if you think of that child out there that is really struggling within the school district, maybe struggling at home, we're a residential program where that child can come and really turn their lives around. It's a 5.5-month in-residence program followed by a 1-year mentoring program. And the last point I'd just like to, I understand time is limited, but the last point I'd like to make is the funding of the program. Just to understand, and I know it's different for each school district, but on average in Wisconsin, each child, of course, gets about $13,000 in state, local, and federal aid that goes to each school district. It can be more or less depending on the school district. For the Challenge Academy, what we do, we're three-quarters of our funding comes from the federal government. So we charge a quarter of the cost to the school district. So what it comes down to is about $4,000, or maybe a little bit more than $4,000 that the school district is charged. DPI ensures that you get the full year's funding. So even if you have a child that's either expelled, maybe even they're 18, we take kids that are up to 19 years of age. If they've dropped out of school, they can come to us. DPI will administratively re-enroll that child back into your school district. We take the $4,000 and then you keep the difference. So it's a situation where you can help a child, give them a residential program, and I don't think there's anywhere where you're going to find a 5-month residential program for about $4,000 for the school district. So is there a cost to the school district? Technically there is, but it is much less than what your state, local, and federal aid is. And also, the other thing that we do to try and make it fair for the school districts, if the child doesn't make it past 3 weeks, we have a third Friday count just as you do. So when we have our third Friday count, if the child doesn't make it to the third Friday, there's no charge to the school district. And about a third of the kids, just about nearly all the kids that drop out of the program drop out within the first 2-3 weeks of the program. So a fairly good situation for the school district cost-wise, we believe it is. So that's all I really wanted to do today, is just bring the name Challenge Academy to the table, hope that as you have expelled kids that are dropping out, that they're an option for your school district. Hope that we're not in competition with you. It's more of just an added benefit or added program to your alternative programs that you already have. So, subject to any questions that you might have.
If I may, how long have you been around, and two?
Excuse me, point of order, this is not an agenda item. We do not,
that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
we don't
can't
enter into
discuss-
debate or discussion.
Understand.
So,
Yep.
anyway, I'm sure you have.
Chris, I can get a hold of you offline.
Yeah.
I'll touch base with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak before the board? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to we have recognition today?
Well, it's been
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
next time.
So the recognition is postponed to the next work session or next board meeting, Sandy? Board meeting, okay. And then we have minutes to approve. We have the, did I miss that?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, my
That's okay.
glasses on. Roll call,
Put those
sorry.
glasses on.
Jeffries?
Here.
Franz?
Here.
Warren?
Here.
Wagner?
Here.
Bledsoe?
Here.
Maloney?
Here.
Becker?
Here.
Devani? Here.
We're joined at the table by all 7 board members are present. We're joined at the table by Priyanka Navani, who's our Intercity Student Council President from Preble, and also Dr. Michelle Langenfeld, Superintendent, and Sandy Heller, our Board Secretary. Then we'll move on to minutes. We have minutes to approve from a regular board meeting from May 20th, a special board meeting June 10th, and special board meetings closed sessions on May 20th and June 10th. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes have been approved. We have no communications to be put on file this month. Next, we have the building focus updates, and I'll let Mike introduce that, even though there's
Yes.
nothing on the agenda.
This June and July, we will not have reports. We're in the process, obviously, of working with staff to refine and readjust this to reflect board's goals and strategies. Celestine and I, who are the co-chairs of that committee, met a month or two ago with Mark and Kim, and we're meeting again tomorrow morning to further talk about future agenda items. And when we have something, we'll report back to the board. But tentatively, our next presentation from staff will be in August, correct? Okay.
All right.
We're in a transition period,
Mhm.
so it's good time.
All right. And then next, we have the superintendent's update. Turn it over to Dr. Langenfeld.
Let's start with the monthly update of the calendar coming up in July. Obviously, July 4th, Independence Day, will be celebrating our country, and so our district buildings will be closed. And then our regular session, our teaching and learning work session, is scheduled for July 15th here in the boardroom. And also immediately following that, beginning at 5:30, we'll have our organizational support work session meeting. Then the regular board meeting, the second meeting for the month of July, is coming up, and it is on July 22nd. So that's basically the calendar. And then the next items, the next item is my performance evaluation, and we need a date. And it says 5 minutes, Sandy, but I think the last time it was, 20? No, I'm kidding. It's hard to get folks together as a date, but it is something we need to do, so.
So we're hoping to have this done by either the end of July or early August. So I don't know what, one of the, generally we've looked at Mondays, although I know sometimes schedules are a little less scheduled in the summertime, but Monday, July 29th, we don't have a board meeting. It's the 5th Monday in July.
I'm okay.
I can do that.
July 29th.
Monday, July 29th. Wow,
Holy cow.
Are you available?
I am. That's why I threw it
Michelle
out.
probably
Busy.
can't be
I
there,
mean,
right?
no, I think.
Wherever you are, you have to fly in if you're not, because
And
that's
just what
that's
is
a
your better
miracle.
offer?
I will be here.
You have a time, Brenda?
What time would people like? I'm good with any time.
5:30.
5:30?
I mean, I could make 5 o'clock. That's fine.
5 o'clock? Is that
5
good for,
o'clock.
how about you,
Does that work
Andrew?
for you,
Does that
Andrew?
work for you? Okay.
Chris, 5?
I'm a flexible person.
So Sandy will send something out.
Okay.
Wow.
That's like,
We
Write
have
that
4.5
down.
minutes to spare.
It's Priya. That's the only difference. It's
She's here,
last time, yeah.
so we're,
It's all
kind of
shorter
a
now.
magic
It's
person.
magic. That's right.
all right. And then there's action items.
Action items, so Jean Marsh,
You
come
wanna
and
come
join
up,
us.
Jen? I'll entertain the first motion.
Still not there. Wait, hold on a
Okay.
second. All right.
I move that the response to intervention RTI specialist job description is presented be approved.
Second?
This is a new position, it's an educator position, and it is needed because, funded by IDA dollars, but it's needed because we have to be compliant with the rules for LD. You have to first have tried 2 interventions with LD students, have them fail, and then at that point, you can place the student in an LD program. So there are compliance issues, and we feel we need to have approximately 4 people in these roles. And so if this is approved, there would be a posting that would go out to employ teachers in these positions. This position would report to our supervisor of special education, educator effectiveness, which is a new position.
Is this, the 4 people working, will they be assigned to particular schools, or is that how you're
I
planning
believe
to?
quadrants, Claudia?
Yes. They're going to be assigned to each. They're going to be assigned to each quadrant, and then they'll be able to support, train, help problem solve until we can get our system fully in place and have a full system in place where every single school has a piece of an interventionist. It's just a way to move us forward and get us all on the same page until we're fully compliant with response to intervention.
Any other questions? All right, roll call, Sandy.
Maloney?
Aye.
Ward?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Next motion.
I move that the employment of Kyle Ransom as middle school principal at Washington Middle School, 12 months, at a salary of $103,369, Group 6, 100 percentile prorated, effective on a date to be mutually agreed upon, contingent upon successful completion of pre-employment process as presented, be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
When this motion was written, we were in the pre-employment process. The process is completed. So just wanted you to know that, and Kyle is here this evening.
And has a date been determined?
I believe in consultation with Mark, July 1st would be his start date, so.
Great.
All right,
we're here to get going.
I think one of the things that impressed us, Kyle comes to us with a great deal of experience already in administration, working in the Champaign-Urbana school districts and then bringing that forward from Illinois into Wisconsin, most recently in a neighboring school district. So we looked at his resume. We think he's a really good match for Washington. He has great vision and is very excited to be joining our district and our team. And particularly, I was very impressed with his answer and response to how he would support and partner with the folks currently at Washington, which is very important when you come in to a system and hear their voice and support them in this. So we're excited to have him on board, and welcome, Kyle. So as soon as the board approves, of course. Pending board approval.
Do we have
Sitting
a
on
start, do we have a start date?
July 1st.
July 1st.
Oh, July
Yes,
1st.
July
Is
1st.
that it? Okay.
Yeah, so.
No, I just
Jean-
asked Jean.
Jean
Oh,
said it
Jean
was,
said- okay.
yeah.
Because it was
Sorry.
going to be determined.
Should the motion, should the motion be changed since this is all completed? What we're referring to in the current motion?
Do we need to change
We
it,
did-
or?
I don't think so. I just wanted you to know that
Because there's nothing about the current motion that's not
Mhm.
in it.
Are we good with this motion?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Welcome, Kyle.
Welcome.
Official welcome.
Yes.
Next
All right.
motion?
I move that the employment of Catherine Walker as Director of Food Services at the Auxiliary Services Building, 12 months, at a salary of $90,446, Group 10, 100th percentile, prorated, effective on a date to be mutually agreed upon, contingent upon successful completion of the pre-employment process, as presented, be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And Catherine comes to us from Shoreline School District in Shoreline, Washington, and she's the Food and Nutrition Services Manager. She's been in that position since 2005. She worked quite a few years in La Crosse, so she's very familiar with Wisconsin, wants to get back to Wisconsin. I believe she'll start as soon as we can, probably in early July. And she's just we think an excellent candidate, and she also has completed some of her pre-employment requirements already, so I'm sure that there will not be any issues.
In my confirming interview with her, what impressed me most was her thoughtfulness around listening to students and working with them to make sure that they had food that they enjoyed as well. And she's done a lot of, if you look, I think she Cordon Bleu, I mean, she has a pretty fancy background in terms of being a chef. So I'm thinking that will be very important. So we talk specifically about how important
Students are
it
going
is.
to be dining.
I know, they won't be having lunch, they'll be dining.
That's nice. That's
Anyway,
nice.
I thought that was important.
Roll call, Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Is she here, Jean?
No, she
Okay.
actually, I believe she left for a trip to Alaska. She had lived in Alaska for a while, so she's in right now.
All right. I move that the employment of certified staff on probationary contracts for the 2013-14 school year as presented be approved.
Second.
These are just routine motions. Further information unless you have a question.
Any questions? All right, Sandy?
Warren?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz? Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the employment of non-certified staff in the extended school year program as presented be approved.
Second.
Any questions? Sandy?
Wagner?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Jeffries?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Now we'll move to transfer of staff. I'll entertain the first motion.
I move that the transfer of Joseph Brooker, Associate Principal at Southwest High School, 12 months, salary group 6, 90th percentile, $101,302, 2012-13 rate, to Associate Principal at Franklin Middle School and West High School, 12 months, with no change in salary for the 2013-14 as presented be approved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Becker?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the transfer of Jeffrey Van Lannen, Associate Principal at Edison Middle School, 11 months, salary group 9, 92nd percentile, $84,002, 2012-13 rate, to Associate Principal at Southwest High School, 12 months, salary group 6, at a salary of $95,009, 92nd percentile, 2013-14 step, as presented, be approved.
Questions,
Need a
comments?
second?
Second.
Oh, second, sorry. Sandy?
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Wagner?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the transfer of Sarah Lang, Curriculum Coordinator at the District Office, 10-month teacher, at a salary of $58,994, 2012-13 rate, to Elementary Principal at Weequahic Elementary, 11 months, salary group 8, at a salary of $79,177, 86 percentile, 2013-14 step, as presented, be approved.
Second.
And I know Sarah's
here.
Sarah's here.
We're
Any
very-
questions or, pardon?
Just fortunate to have Sarah. She brings a lot of excitement and enthusiasm to the position. She's very well respected in the job that she currently holds here at the district office building, and we just think she's going to do a great job.
And I think that she'll also be helping out with educator effectiveness with Terry Willems as well, and I think it's a lovely fit for us, and we're grateful that she'll be joining us in this new role. Pending board approval.
Pending approval, that's right. We should vote and then check.
I know.
All right, any other comments? Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz? Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. It's official. Welcome to your new role,
Welcome.
Sarah.
Yeah.
All right, I move the transfer of Tammy Van, ELL Coordinator / Elementary ESL Program Support Teacher at the District Office, 10-month teacher, at a salary of $42,362, 2012-13 rate, to Elementary Principal at the Early Learning Center, 12-month salary group 8, at a salary of $86,372, 86th percentile, 2013-14 step, as presented, be approved.
Second.
And again, Tammy is another person who we're promoting internally from a teacher position to her first principal position. And she was an ESL teacher, and she taught at Baird and Aldo, and now is working as a program support teacher in the district office building. And again, she's just very excited and enthusiastic. She had a great interview, and we're really pleased to be able to get somebody of her caliber to take over at the ELC.
Tammy, aye.
I think one of the pieces too that's important with Tammy is recognizing how many families are dual language speaking in the school that she'll be serving in, and we think her ELL background will be a really important fit, acknowledging and recognizing the needs of that community. So it's a good fit, and we feel really good about that as well.
Roll call, Sandy?
Jeffries?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Welcome to your new role, Sammy. Tammy, I mean.
I move that the resignation of certified staff as presented be approved.
Second.
Questions? Sandy?
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Jeffries?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. That concludes the superintendent's report, correct? Nothing else, okay. Next we'll move to the Intercity Student Council report. Turn that over to Bianca.
Well, everybody's been enjoying their summer, I suppose you could say. We've been out of school for 2 weeks now. I guess the only big things that have happened since the last time a report was given, because that was at the end of the school year too, was the big state track meet. Actually, the all-area Press Gazette report came out today, and we had a lot of area athletes involved in that. Preble's always in the paper for sports, as are many of our Green Bay schools, which is something we're really proud of. I think you could all agree on that. Seeing as we're not in school right now, there's not very much I can talk about, but yeah.
Not a problem.
Okay.
When's your first meeting, or next meeting, I should say, ICSE meeting? When do the students meet?
We don't meet until September.
September, okay, all right. We'll really get the summer off. All right, next we'll move to the legislative liaison report. Turn it over to Mike.
Thanks, Brenda. A lot has happened since the last time we met and since the last time I updated you, so bear with me as I go through this, because there's a lot of critical stuff affecting public education in the budget. I will get to that. Is the document that Joint Finance Committee handed out at 2:30 in the morning. But before I do that, I first want to talk a little bit about how we got to where we are, and then I'll talk about what's in the budget, and then I think most importantly, I'll talk about where we go from here. As you remember, initially, the governor in this budget has proposed that Green Bay and 8 other school districts join Milwaukee in Racine having vouchers. We have been working with legislators throughout the state to try to get that removed from the budget. That deal, for a lot of reasons, fell through, and a compromise was reached. Compromise was reached behind closed doors, as most of the things in the legislature are. So before I get to the Joint Finance Committee, I just, over the last 5 or 6 months, I've talked to hundreds of parents, staff members, including teachers, community members, about our school district, about vouchers. Brenda and Michelle worked very hard too, other board members and other staff members have. And I think we got some tremendous support and more understanding in this community of what we're facing. I guess in particular, I'd like to thank a couple of community members. Denise Gammer Hutchison, who headed our parent and community group that worked very hard behind the scenes to try to inform people about the negative impacts of vouchers. Judy Crane, former school board president, community activist. Kathy Ledley, a retired teacher who worked a lot with the retired groups. And then I think a lot of legislators who understood the challenges of an urban school district and the problems we face and the advances that we're making. And in particular, I want to mention Senator Rob Coles, Representative Eric Gingrich, Senator Dave Hansen, and Senators Mike Ellis and Luther Olson. I am disheartened that Mayor Jim Schmidt believes that private school vouchers will be good for this community. It's unfortunate that apparently he listens more to John Gard than our superintendent and the elected members of the Green Bay School Board. And I fear that 5 or 10 years from now, the mayor will look back and say, what did I do to my community? I'm also angry, and I think everyone should be, that the governor, legislators, lobbyists, and others continue to talk about the successes of the failed Milwaukee voucher program, when study after study proved that to be false. 100 voucher schools have closed in the past 22 years, and up to 75% of students who start in voucher high schools don't graduate from that school. I'd like to read a little bit from a column in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel yesterday from Alan Borsek, who has covered the voucher issue for 15 years. His column starts out, "It's been an excellent state budget season for lousy voucher schools. Of course, it's been an excellent budget season for all private schools that want public financial support, statewide expansion of vouchers, tax deductions for those who pay tuition to elementary and high schools, big jumps in state payments for each voucher student a year from now, some last-minute helpful surprises. But the lousy operators must be feeling especially good. Why? Because nothing was done to drive them to improve or to stop taking state money. Come this fall, a cluster of low-performing, poorly run voucher schools will still enroll thousands of kids and take millions of dollars in state money. Even the most adamant voucher supporters agree there are schools in Milwaukee that don't merit public support. There is a large range of quality among the 110-plus schools that take voucher students. Some are excellent, many are of average quality, and some really stand out when it comes to being bad. Somehow a solution that promotes quality and responsible use of public money seems off the table in Wisconsin. I regard myself as one of the few people on earth who has no pro or con position on vouchers. A professional obligation, I'm neutral, but I followed the program closely for 15 years and visited something around 100 voucher schools. I'm not neutral when it comes to quality. In the past 8 years, the regulatory climate has changed in ways that put a few dozen schools out of business, which is good. But the cluster of weak schools persists and appears to have grown in the last couple of years. I'm talking about schools such as Cercia Travis Academy and its partner, Travis Technology High School, which between them had 699 students last fall, and which have received almost $40 million in public money in recent years. In this year's state test, no student at either school was rated proficient or advanced in either reading or math. At Syria Travis, 88% of fourth graders were rated minimal in reading. When I asked school leaders last fall to describe the reading program, they said there wasn't one. Teachers who come and go at a fast pace are left to decide. Do you want your tax dollar to support this school? It is and will continue to do so. Now, our graduation rates have continually been misrepresented by legislators such as Senator Alberta Darling, who said on radio in Milwaukee that our graduation rate was 40%, by lobbyists like John Gard and Jim Bender, even by Father Dane Radecki. Tim Riley, a deacon in the Catholic Church, in a letter to the Press Gazette People's Forum, even compared public education to communist Cuba. So let's take a look at the budget now. This is, and the way we got here, there was behind-the-scenes negotiation between the governor and members of the Joint Finance Committee, and lobbyists seemed to be well-informed along the way. But the public did not see any document. Joint Finance Committee met in Madison on the following Tuesday morning. They discussed Medicaid for about 5 hours. I went over there about 2:30 when they were done with Medicaid. They were finishing up Medicaid, and they announced, and the room was packed with people obviously interested in public education. They announced that Joint Finance Committee would be back at 5 o'clock. So I returned at 4:45. The clerk for the Joint Finance Committee came out and said Joint Finance Committee will be back at 6:30. So we sat. At 6:30, the clerk for the Joint Finance Committee came out and said the Joint Finance Committee will be back at 8:30. People sat, waited. Clerk then came out and said the Joint Finance Committee will be back at 9 o'clock. I thought, well, good, it's only a half hour. Not another word until 20 to 1. At 20 to 1, the clerk came out and said Joint Finance Committee will be back at 1 o'clock. At 1:15, the Republicans came back from their 10 hours or so caucusing, passed this out as a done deal. Not one word of public discussion, not one public hearing. They developed this in caucus. And the 4 Democrats on Joint Finance Committee were just left to say, wait a minute. Senator Schilling asked, why don't we recess till 9 o'clock in the morning? The public can be here, we'll be rested. We shouldn't do this in the middle of the night. Representative John Nygren, the school chair, says, no, we're gonna do it tonight. So they did. So there are a few positives in this thing, but not that many. The first item, state support for K-12 education. If you remember, the governor's budget had a 0% increase in the revenue limit for both years of the biennium. Joint Finance Committee put $150 in both years, half of it in general aid, half of it in categorical aid. However, the first year's 150 is really 100 because there's $50 in categorical aid in this year's budget that goes away. So that's been taken away. So it's really only 100 and 150. And with 100, I wanted to call Alan this morning, but he's on vacation. But we're still looking at a budget shortfall of a couple $1 million.
Yeah, for every $50, it's $1 million. So we were looking at a $2 million budget shortfall.
We go to item 6. Item 6, the educator effectiveness evaluation system. They allocated, as the governor proposes, $13.5 million over the biennium. Number 7, high-cost transportation aid. And this is critical for a lot of our rural districts. The $500 million annually and to create a new high-cost transportation categorical aid program. Number 8, the per-pupil payments for Milwaukee and Racine parental choice. They adopted the governor's proposed payment for 2014-15 at $7,000. $210 for K-8, and $7,856 for high school students. Okay, you go down to number 9.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yep.
In that number 8, it says that that their payments would go up proportional to the revenue limit per pupil adjustment if positive. Does that mean it doesn't go down if it's negative like ours
Right.
does? Okay, just checking.
Yeah, what they did with that is they tie aid for voucher schools directly to any aid provided to public education, which again.
But only positive 8.
Yeah.
So when we took $500 less per student,
You take a
would-
hit, they don't take a
They
hit.
stay
They wouldn't-
stable.
They wouldn't.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And what it did is it's setting up 2 separate systems of education for the state to fund. And a lot of the legislators are warning that we can barely afford one, now we have 2. Number 9, and this is the statewide voucher program, 500 students in 2013-14 and 1,000 in 2014-15. Pupils' total family income could not exceed 185% of the federal poverty level, provided that in order for a private school to participate in this biennium, it must have been in operation on May 1st, 2013.
Mike?
Yeah.
Just a quick note, if I understand accurately, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you only have to qualify once based on additional language that might have been added at the last moment. Did I
You only
understand
have to
that?
qualify.
So in other words, I may be at 185% to qualify
If your
initially.
income goes over that,
But
you
let's
still
say-
stay.
But, right, so our income goes from 185% and then it could be
You get a new
300,
job, you
it
get
could
more
be.
So
money.
you don't need
Married.
to meet the income requirement
year.
You
every
meet it
year.
when you get in, you're in. Right, that's correct.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry.
185% of poverty for a family of 3 is 36,000.
Well, for a family of
'Cause
4,
poverty-
I think it's 28, so a family
Poverty
of 4
is-
would be like 42. And we'll
Right.
talk a little bit later about
Right.
We can get
what's
more
going to
information.
happen to this, because this isn't going to stay. But I'll get to that. I'll get to that later. For this coming school year must private school must submit its intent to participate by July 26th, and may accept student application beginning August 1st. Okay. Let's go. Okay, let's go to 19. Prior a private school and a parental choice program that has achieved accreditation to ensure that it continuously maintains accreditation from a statutorily approved accreditation agency for as long as the school continues to participate in the program. Voucher advocates said, see, look, there is accountability, but a lot of these horribly performing voucher schools in Milwaukee have been accredited. I think you can find an agency to accredit you, so being accredited every year is not a big deal. Going down to number 20, Special Needs Scholarship Program. This is one positive. This eliminates the special education voucher proposal. And number 21, the charter school, it also eliminates the charter school process. With the existing charter schools now, it increases student per pupil payment for students in charter schools. It is now $7,775. It would increase to $7,925 this year and $8,075 in 2014, 2015. The big change here, and again, this was put in at the last minute, currently UW-Milwaukee can have charter schools within Milwaukee County. They expanded it to the 5-county Milwaukee area. So any of the 5 UW-Milwaukee can set up charter schools, and not only in Milwaukee County, but in a 5-county area. And the thing is, with charter schools statewide have the first draw on school aids. And I think this year, what are we paying, $1.8 million for charter schools in Milwaukee County?
Yeah.
So you can just imagine, with that expanded to 5 counties, UW Milwaukee can set up charter schools in any of those 5 counties, and then those charter schools have the first draw on general school aids.
So which could increase our budget
It
deficit.
could increase it
It would
dramatically.
We'll
increase the
increase it by
deficit.
whatever the amount is that, yeah, okay.
Let's go to 38. Again, this is something that was slipped in the middle of the night. Nobody would admit to who developed it. I have a guess, but I won't say. But this deals with Fund 80, our community service fund, prohibits a school district from levying more for community service activities 2013-14 and 2014-15 than it did this year. In other words, it freezes what you can spend on Fund 80 for the next 2 years of the budget. Now, there's a couple other interesting things that were slipped into the budget. One of them is that, and this was put in by the Assembly after it left the Joint Finance Committee. The budget now says that the Department of Public Instruction can release aggregate information on voucher schools, but it cannot release information on individual voucher schools unless that school gave its permission. So there is no way for parents or reporters or anyone trying to think how the schools are doing with public money. There is no way, because if you're a lousy performing voucher school, why would you give permission? So that's in the budget.
The argument was interesting in that the Department of Public Instruction would not be forthcoming with accurate information was an argument I heard to defend that.
Yeah, that was
item, that the superintendent would not be forthcoming with accurate information. So needed to be.
Here is another proposal that was put in the middle of the night. They set up a private school tuition tax deduction.
Right.
Creates an income tax deduction up to $4,000 tuition per pupil for K-8 and up to $10,000 tuition per pupil in grades 9 to 12 paid to a private or religious school starting in 2014-15. The estimated annual cost to the state is $30 million.
30?
$30 million.
I thought the last time I read it, it was like 70. But the
That's
Legislative
the
Fiscal
last-
Bureau said 30?
Fiscal Bureau said 30 million.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we are. The School Administrators Alliance and the WSB are sending letters to the governor's office asking for vetoes on a number of these provisions. And we'll see where that goes. The governor has said he would make his vetoes by July 1st. He has been quoted publicly as saying that he would not change the voucher proposal, that he reached an agreement with Senators Ellis and Olson, and he would stick to that. Now, the problem, the legislature is back in session this fall, and they are free to do what they wish. They could completely change what's in the budget. It's up to them. I talked to Dan Rossmiller this morning. He said, well, it's really going to, if they meet this fall, it's too late to change anything for the 2013-14 school year because the applications for voucher schools will have to be in by that time. But the possibilities are wide open for 2014-2015. Either way, legislators could introduce a bill to get rid of vouchers, which probably wouldn't pass, or a senator like Leah Vukmir, who's been very outspoken on the need for vouchers, she could make a proposal to take the cap off. I mean, I think that's, when we look at it, the biggest fear is that the 1% cap doesn't stay. And the day after Joint Finance put that cap in, the governor and legislature says, well, we'll take another look at that in 2 years. So, and that's what happened, by the way, that's what happened in Milwaukee. Milwaukee started out with a 1% cap, 175% poverty limit to get the lowest income students. And I believe the first year they had like 400 students, none of them in religious schools. And now they have 24,000. So there is a need here. Dan thought it was a definite that someone will introduce a bill this fall for special ed vouchers. If you'll remember, the Assembly passed special ed vouchers 2 years ago. The Senate refused to take it up, so it died. But that is, special ed vouchers are definitely coming back. So what do? We need to develop, and Michelle and I have just talked briefly about this, we need to develop a long-range communication plan that focuses not just on vouchers, but on public education and all of the positive things that we are doing in our school district. I think there needs to be more of a regional approach, a statewide approach, because about 2 weeks ago, people in other districts woke up and thought, they realized, oh my gosh, we're in the voucher club, what do we do now? So I think there has to be a much broader approach, and like I said, not just focusing on vouchers, but focusing on all the positives on public education and why vouchers are bad for communities and bad for kids. I mean, one of my priorities when I become president of WASB in January will be to work with other educational agencies, groups, and parent groups around the state, because I think there has to be a statewide strategy for dealing with this. So I mean, that's kind of where we are. This is not coming back. The whole secrecy in the process, I would think, should outrage our community. I mean, if we did that, if we announced a meeting at 5 o'clock and we said, well, wait a minute, we got to go in closed session, and maybe we'll come back at 8 o'clock, and maybe we'll come back at 9 o'clock, or maybe we'll come back at midnight. And I've told legislators, I said the only way to end, and to be fair, the Democrats did the same thing when they were in power. The only way to get over that is to, partisan party caucuses are exempt from the open meetings law. And the only way to get that is to remove that exemption. Because they always said, well, geez, we can't, how do we get agreement on something if we have to do it in public? Well, public bodies do that all the time. They just can't cut deals. I mean, they're cutting deals with lobbyists and with each other in closed session. That's why they don't want to do it in open session. But to come out with a document like this, you know, after 10 hours of closed door meetings without any public hearings, without any public comment, public should be outraged at that. That's terrible government. So that's kind of where we are now. And we've got, I mean, at this, I think I'm heartened by a lot of the reaction I think we've gotten from the community, and I know Brenda and Michelle want to say something because they did a lot of work in the community too. But we've got a lot of work ahead of us because we're battling big money and misperceptions and misinformation, and I think a lot of it very deliberate and demonizing public education, and it comes right out of the ALEC playbook. So I'll stop there.
All right. Any questions for Mike? All right, Chris.
I guess I should say I just want to say thank you for a very depressing report. But thank you for everything you folks have done with this. It is depressing if you believe in democracy and the mission of public education. What I find abhorrent is the big money that voucher people have given to the governor and, to my understanding, the Republican legislators in our area. That's bothersome. I mean, follow the money, it's right there. Also, I personally see this as the governor using it as a checkoff as he plays with the idea of running for president. So both those situations, the money and wanting to run for president, I don't see anything altruistic there. I don't see anything that we're truly worried about education of our students. It's rather self-centered. I'm getting money so I can stay in politics, I can run for another office. I find that morally reprehensible. It is a sad day for democracy. I don't know what it's going to take to turn around, which certainly on my end, and I'm sure my colleagues here won't give up the good fight for what we believe in, namely public education for our students. I did appreciate the Green Bay Press-Gazette's editorial this morning. It spoke about the need for transparency. Mike, you're absolutely right. The Democrats have done similar things with budget bills in the past. The Republicans have now done it in spades. And shame on both of them. We're suffering for it right now, and our kids and future generations are going to suffer for this unless this is stopped. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a pretty good guess what the answer is, but is there any, in thinking about the 1% cap, the total number of vouchers is, even in year 2 and subsequent, is much less than 1% of the number of kids in the state. Who gets them first? Is that defined?
Okay, I was going to read this. Okay, there is a deadline for applying. If the DPI determines that the sum of pupil applications reported by all private schools is more than the pupil participation limit, it must notify 25 schools with the most applications that they may participate in the program. DPI must allocate 10 seats to each of the 25 schools and must select pupils for those 10 seats at each school by random drawing. The other 250 seats are to be filled by random drawing among the remaining pupils applying to those schools, with preferences given to siblings.
Wow.
So the 10 biggest individual schools. So if I'm a voucher school with 2,800 kids, I'm sitting pretty good. I'm guaranteed 10 at least.
Yeah, and and there's a real tight timeline. There probably won't be much of an impact this year because it's a tight timeline. My guess is that John Gard has organized some of the schools in our area that they're ready to go with their applications, and I wouldn't be surprised if many of those 25 schools are in our area. I think what did I say, application? July 26th, I believe.
Is that process the same process but doubled for subsequent years, or are they going to get back to us on that one? 1 in the morning?
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll decide that when no one's around.
Right now it's undefined.
That's my understanding.
900,000 students in Wisconsin. So, yeah, that's...
Michelle, did you have a...
Yeah, I just, it's been a long road, and so that's why there's so much to report. But I do think that a couple of things that were very important and positive that occurred as part of the discussion around the vouchers is the recognition that at the end of the day, it is not about students and failing report cards, and Green Bay being put on the target. Yesterday, as I was tidying some things up and cleaning, I came across the first article that came out from the school report cards identifying Green Bay area public schools, and these schools are failing. And I think that the conversation has changed, I think, to a more honest conversation around a philosophical framework of choice versus failing. And I think that the fact that legislators came to see and recognize the fact that our students aren't failing, but rather that the circumstance of life that some of our students are faced with is a little more unique, and the recognition that we are making progress is really critical to get that out. One of the pieces that we engaged with the State Department, we were there last week. Kim Paulo and I visited with Kurt Kiefer, who is with the technology folks, and we talked about metrics and value-added measures. And when we start looking at reporting out to our public from a data dashboard, one of the pieces that we have to get out there, in addition to whatever the state requires us to put out there, are the value-added measures that really look at who we are as a district and the students that we serve. We know, for example, that a couple of years ago, when MacGyver put out the report with value-added measures, Green Bay area public schools outpaced the neighboring school districts, and we were 14th out of the top 50 largest school districts in the state of Wisconsin looking at value-added measures. So we're in a unique spot. The students that we serve may not be proficient by 3rd grade because it takes 7 years to acquire English language, academic language, so we know that piece. But I think that we started a communication process that we have to get even better at in terms of not only identifying that we're not failing, but also getting the information out to our community, who we are, who we serve, and getting more and more folks into our schools. We have an extraordinary group of students. We have hardworking staff. We are working from inside out, in other words, to improve how we're going to be meeting the needs of each and every student. The fact that we haven't done that so far is problematic, and we acknowledge that and we own it. And thus the reorganization and restructuring that we're currently doing inside out, so that we really are focused on continuous improvement, and the most effective educators in front of our children is our priority, and it's our mission. And I am confident that the more people understand who we are, the better off we will be as a community and a school community as well, and it will serve our students well. So we have a lot of work to do, but we are up for the challenge and we are moving forward. And I do think that we have to continue to tell our story and invite our legislators in to see. It changed some opinions, but I think we have significant work to do. So looking forward to the fall and folks coming in and opening our doors wide to again show the extraordinary work that's going on around continuous improvement and workforce development, which people aren't interested in talking to us about. But I got to tell you, what we're doing in partnership to develop a workforce to fit your mission that you defined for us for college, career, and community ready is noteworthy, and it should not fall off the radar. So I am going to be pursuing that down some different avenues so we can get some folks in from the state too. This is far too important to let that go away. So, and I want to thank Mike. Mike has been out in front, and Brenda, and I think as Amanda and others and all of us working together, it's one of those, on behalf of WASB, you've been out there in front, Mike, and Brenda as well. And Brenda said to me one day, if I'd have known a year ago that I could do what I'm doing, but I'm so passionate about the children and what we need to do. And so it's you find yourself on the front page of the paper and on the television a little more than you could have ever anticipated. But anyway, so I want to put that out there as well.
I have a question and then a comment. My question is, I'd read in the Journal Sentinel that there was a possible loophole and this Challenge Academy speaks to the loophole of a and I'm not accusing Challenge Academy of anything, but they said they were statewide. So that there would be, let's say, Acme Middle School in Milwaukee having satellites in various communities, and they could get around the district cap.
There is a concern in the budget that language could permit Milwaukee and Racine to set up voucher schools, to set up satellite schools around the state. Governor has promised to take care of that. He said that was not intended, and he said he would clean that up. That's the last thing I read from him. So, I mean, that would be pretty scary. Tony Evers has said that, also that if that stayed in there, he wouldn't allow that to happen. But then he could end up in a lawsuit. But Governor has said he would clean that up, and that wasn't intended. But that's what happens when you do things in the middle of the night.
That's right. And here's my comment. The entire thing, the entire process has been awkward and distressing. And I think that, our community, and particularly Mike and Brenda and Michelle, have really risen to the occasion. I know lots of other people, all the school board members have made phone calls to make sure that there are people in the community who know about it. But here's the thing that is particularly distressing to me. As an African American person in this community, and as a parent of 2 biracial children, what I hear in this voucher proposal is a lot of, well, the African American kids are doing so poorly, and we have to help those African American kids because their graduation rate is 42%. That's what they're talking about. I so deeply resent the people who are profiting that argument, who have never said one thing about African American progress in this community or other communities outside Milwaukee potentially. And now, all of a sudden, they're interested in our progress.
Right.
I have not said that. I've said that to a couple of you privately. I'm saying it publicly because it is disgusting. And, unfortunately, I read some of the mayor's comments in the paper, which were deeply disappointing. I personally know that the mayor has some concerns for students, but I have not heard him talk about being concerned about poor students. Not in that way. So once again, I wonder why make this argument on the backs of people that you have not been concerned about before. It's distressing to me. I don't recall John Gard or Jim Bender, John Klinke, Chad Weininger, who I know personally, Andre Jacques, who I also know personally, ever being concerned about, especially African American children in this community. And I really wish they would stop talking about us. I really do. Because this has nothing to do with us. So that's my soapbox for 2 seconds. But like I said, I very much appreciate the work that everyone has done around the table to educate, inform, and challenge.
Well, and I've said in a couple of media interviews that I said, I have been the board's main spokesman on legislative issues. I said, I have worked and paid taxes in this school district for more than 40 years. I've sent 2 sons to the Green Bay Public Schools. They've gotten a great education. John Gard doesn't live in our school district, hasn't taken the time to visit our schools or come in and talk to our superintendent or board members. But somehow he's the expert on how to fix Green Bay Public Schools. And I deeply resent that. And I think people who live in this community should resent a highly paid lobbyist from outside our school district coming in and saying this is what Green Bay needs.
First of all, is John Gard not employed at Notre Dame?
He's
the cross-country coach.
He coaches at Notre Dame. He doesn't live in our school district. He lives in Swamico.
Okay. And then another thing I just wanted to say is, this is a long list of things, and to be honest, I can't understand half of it. But what I really like about this discussion is that you read in the newspapers and you watch on the news, and the main thing, it's just figures and it's just money and it's just percentages. But each board member who just spoke was talking about us, the kids that actually go to the schools, not how much money we're going to lose or how this is going to affect us monetarily. And I just appreciate that so much, because not one news station or politician will really mention the kids besides the ones that are lobbying against vouchers. So I just really want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Just one more
Michelle?
thing. I think one of the things that has been ignored, and in fact is right into your conversation, Celestine, and your voice, is that we have a plan. We have a clearly defined plan. You, as a board, as elected officials, have articulated a strategic roadmap for us to follow. We have a plan. So it isn't like we're sitting around waiting for something good to happen. So we're moving forward, and that's really important as we look to really operationalizing that in actionable items that will make very public and transparent in board reports as we come up, and that's what we're looking forward to. So again, we have a plan, we're working on a community plan, so it's not like Green Bay is sitting around, and we are concerned about students, all students, and student achievement, and that's why we're here, so.
And the only other thing on there is for your information, the WSB document, they've put together a document that you've had a chance to look at it. It's what the DPI proposal was, what the governor's proposal was, what Joint Finance Committee did, and then what WSB's position has been. So that's just for your background. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Now we'll move to the system reports. Teaching and learning is first, facilitated by Katie Maloney.
Thank you, Brenda. We had no discussion items, but we have several action items. The first one, I move that the elementary language arts curriculum companion resources, second reading, $1,142,171.25 be approved.
This is second reading, so we've had multiple discussions about this. Any other comments or questions? Sandy?
Warren?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Whitener?
Aye.
Franz? Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the health curriculum and resources, second reading, $7,655.20 be approved.
Second.
Questions? Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Whitener?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the introduction to environmental science transcribed credit curriculum and resources, second reading, $5,982 be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Becker?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Whitener?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the elementary keyboarding curriculum and resources waiver of first reading, $87,000 be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Whitener?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the unique learning systems curriculum adoption proposal, first reading, $44,530 be approved.
Second.
Questions? Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Whitener?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the additional hours of instruction for Fort Howard Elementary Priority School, $363,875 be approved.
Second.
You know, I have a quick question. I didn't notice that before. So are we calling it that now? The Fort Howard Elementary Priority School? It's like official name?
No, I don't think. we-
No, it's just
Oh, no.
identified as a priority school.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's,
No, we
yeah.
have to change the name.
Thanks.
And that 363,000 is coming from the state's money. Okay, Sandy?
Whitener?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Jeffries?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the school counselor personal safety and wellness curriculum resource, $833.25 be approved.
Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Whitener?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
I move that the Equity Institute, $120,195.44 be approved.
We had a long discussion last week about this. Any other questions?
It's multiple years.
Yeah, over 3 years.
Yep.
All right, Sandy?
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Jeffries?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
We had no other matters allowed by law, so that concludes my report.
All right, thanks, Katie. Next, we'll go to organizational support facilitated by Chris Wagner.
Thank you. There are no discussion items under business nor under human resources. We do have several recommendations which we talked about last week. As soon as I get down to it. First one is that a teaching contract be issued to Emily Vildwak, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, grade 4-5 at Howe at a salary of $37,362 for the 2013-14 school year as presented be approved.
Second.
Any comments? Questions? All right, Sandy?
Maloney?
Abstain?
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Jeffries?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Carried 6 ayes, 1 abstention.
Next recommendation is that the change from WEA Trust and Mutual of Omaha to the standard as the district's life insurance vendor effective August 1, 2013, as presented be approved.
Second.
Any questions? Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz?
Carried 7-0.
That the change from WEA Trust to the standard as the district's long-term disability vendor effective August 1st, 2013, as presented at the present rates be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Franz? Wagner?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the table of organization be modified to reflect the change of a 1.0 Assistant Superintendent of Business and Finance 12-month salary group 2, $106,231 to $123,524, which is the 2012-13 rate, to a 1.0 Chief Financial Officer 12-month of the same salary group, and that the associated job description as presented be approved.
Second.
That salary listed there is the range in group 2, right? Yeah. So it's not an increase in salary. Yeah. Just wanted to
Right.
clarify that. Any other questions? Sandy?
Warren?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz?
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the table of organization be modified to reflect the change of a 1.0 Executive Director of PK Elementary Schools 12-month salary group 3, $97,786 to $113,705, which is the 2012-13 rate, to a 1.0 Chief Administrator of Educator Development and Effectiveness 12 months at the same salary group, and that the associated job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Wagner?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Jeffries?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the table of organization be modified to reflect the change of a 1.0 Director of Research Program Evaluation and Assessment 12-month salary group 3, $97,786 to $113,705, which is a 2012-13 rate, to a 1.0 Director of Research and Program Evaluation, 12 months at the same salary group, and that the associated job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Becker?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the table of organization be modified to reflect the change of a 1.0 District Assessment Coordinator, 12 months, salary group 6, $88,897 to $103,369, 2012-13 rate, to a 1.0 Director of Assessment, 12 months, at the same salary group, and that the associated job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Wagner?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the table of organization be modified to reflect the addition of the 1.0 Educator Effectiveness Implementation Coordinator, 12-month salary group 6, $88,897 to $103,369, 2012-13 rate, and that the associated job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the Special Education Program Evaluation Specialist job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the Indian Education Cultural Resource Specialist job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Wagner?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Jeffries?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the Indian Education Project Coordinator job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Warren?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz? Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the Avid Tutor Coordinator job description as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Wagner?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
Next is that the transfer of Michael Freeze, Associate Principal at West High School, 12-month, salary group 6, 86 percentile, $88,897, 2012-13 rate, to Director of Secondary Education and Learning Interim, 12-month salary group 6 at a salary of $90,965, 88th percentile, 2013-14 step, as presented, be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Becker?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
And Mike is here.
Congratulations, Mike. Next is the transfer of Kim Spicala, principal at Keller Elementary School, 11-month, salary group 8, 100th percentile, $92,066, 2012-13 rate, to principal at MacArthur Elementary School, 11-month, salary group 8, 100th percentile, with no change in salary as presented, be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Wagner?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
And our last recommendation tonight is that the transfer of Brendan Whitfield, Special Education Evaluation Specialist at the district office, 10-month teacher at a salary of $51,194, to Supervisor of Special Education Effectiveness at the district office, 12 months, salary group 11 at a salary of $70,084, 88th percentile, 2013-14 step, as presented, be approved.
Second.
Questions? Sandy?
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Warren?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Carried 7-0.
And that the consent items as presented be approved.
Second.
Sandy?
Warren?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz? Aye.
Carried 7-0. Concludes your report. All right. Are there any other matters allowed by law? Thanks, Chris.
Well, I don't know whether allowed by law.
Uh-oh.
Got my wrist slapped a little while ago.
Just a mere point of order.
Nice way to do
I was going to say, you can't read your own handwriting, can you?
A point of information to you and the community. As last year, again this year, there'll be a Lamp of Knowledge banquet recognition of students receiving scholarships through Scholarships Inc., which include a heck of a lot of our kids, and that'll be on July 31st, I forget the date.
That's like a,
It's a
It's
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah.
the meeting's the 29th.
Yeah.
Right, 31st. It's a Wednesday.
All right, any other matters allowed by law? Guys, we do have a closed session, so I'll read that motion. Special board meeting closed session has been scheduled for Monday, June 24th, 2013, immediately following the adjournment of the regular board meeting at the district office building. Pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, more specifically to wit, potential litigation. And pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically to wit, potential property contracts. The meeting will begin in open session to consider the appropriate motion for a closed session so provided by law.
So moved.
Second.
Sandy?
Wagner.
Aye.
Aye.
Warren.
Aye.
Ron. Aye. Joseph.
Aye.
Rebecca.
Aye.
Becker.
Aye.
Carried 7-0. We'll adjourn and meet in the room across the hall.
For more information or to obtain copies of this program, contact CISA 7 Interactive Learning Services at 920-465-5218.